So, I'm back here with another little video about the Gibson guitars in Europe. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, that Thomann, one of Europe's biggest music stores, is not going to sell Gibsons anymore. And I actually got some information about that this is most likely going to be kind of like a domino kind of thing when one goes like this, don't the other one and the other one and the other one. Because if Thomann is going to cancel their relationship with Gibson, Thomann is a very big music store, so most likely the guitars need to be very, very bad, poor quality. So, and that's perhaps with the cheaper ones, as I said in the previous video. But I'm thinking, so now when they have stopped selling, well, they have not stopped selling Gibsons, they are still selling Gibsons, but only the ones that they have in stock. So that's the ones that they are going to continue selling, but they will not buy any more Gibson guitars. So with that said, I really think that more music stores is thinking exactly the same. So I really think that in just a matter of maybe 6 months or so, I really think it could be some hard times to find a new decent Gibson guitar in Europe. So that's why I think to stick with the older ones, used Gibson guitars or basses or whatever you're looking for. I'm thinking it's not very easy to find a decent used Gibson Les Paul, for example. It's not very easy. I mean, of course there is some on, the German eBay, for example. I used to buy a lot of stuff there. But of course there is guitars there as well, but it's not very easy to find a Gibson Les Paul that you're really looking at and thinking, wow, I gotta have that guitar. So there is not very much to choose from, and especially not in the price range of, let's say, 450 euros up to 700-800 euros. It's not very easy. I mean, there is tons of guitars kind of like for over 1500 euros or even more expensive. And I already have a 3500 euro Gibson Les Paul Custom, so I don't need any more like that. So I'm looking for the cheaper ones now. So it's not very easy. So buying guitars, if you live in Europe and you're looking to buy perhaps from the American eBay, that you have very much more guitars on the American eBay, of course, and a lot better prices as well. I mean, you can get a Gibson Les Paul for kind of like, let's say, 500 American dollars, 500 to 600 American dollars. That would be in the price range, let's say 350 euros, 400 euros, something like that. But you have to think about the shipping prices, the shipping cost, and the taxes, because you have to pay some customs tax, as well as for example the German tax if you live in Germany, for instance, that could be anywhere in between 15 to 25% depending on where in Europe you live. So that will basically give you a very expensive guitar, even though the guitar itself in America was a cheap guitar. But with the taxes and all, you know, the shipping cost and all that kind of shit, the guitar is not so cheap anymore. So it's not very easy. So the English eBay is also something, a suggestion for you if you're looking for guitars. There is a lot of guitars on the English eBay. I have been buying some guitars over there back in the past, and I really have purchased some cheap guitars, but that's some years ago now. If you live in Europe, England, UK is not a part of the European Union, but they are a part of something called Schengen, and that means you can still buy stuff without paying taxes and that kind of shit, and also very cheap shipping cost as well from UK. So that's something you can do, even though the guitars isn't very cheap these days. 5-6 years ago, when I bought guitars from UK eBay, I managed to find some very, very good cheap guitars. I'm talking about Gibson Les Pauls, all that kind of stuff. But you can't find a cheap Gibson Les Paul today. You have to find some big amount of luck if you are going to find a very cheap. Well, of course you can buy a cheap guitar compared to what the new prices are, because Gibsons are very, very overpriced, the new ones, I think. Of course you can find a cheap Gibson Les Paul, for instance, but it's not very often you find a guitar on eBay and you're thinking kind of like, wow, I gotta have this guitar, and the price is very low, the guitar looks awesome, this is exactly what I'm looking for. That's not gonna happen. So you have to compromise, kind of like, I'm looking for a black satin guitar, this guitar is white. Okay, am I satisfied with a white guitar when I was looking for a black satin guitar? Or maybe, okay, I'm looking for a Gibson Les Paul with the black hardware, because that's exactly what I want. And I find a guitar that actually have gold hardware, and I'm not really into gold, so okay, maybe I have to buy that one, because maybe I can change the hardware later. But anyway, that is going to be a cost. I mean, hardware is very, very, very expensive stuff if you're looking for the good quality things. In my Luther shop, I have a full box of Chinese crap hardware, brand new stuff, but you can't use it because it's just crap. So don't buy this cheap Chinese hardware because it's just crap. You gotta go with the good stuff if you're going to have a good guitar. So however you're looking at this, it's going to cost you some money, and the matter of cheap guitars is not around anymore. I want to end this video by telling you that Gibson factory, Gibson guitars, it actually was very good guitars back in the days. It actually was very good guitars until maybe 2012 or so, and long before that even it was great guitars. These days it's not great guitars. They are running all their guitars, well, almost all their guitars, through something called a plec machine. That means it's a computerized machine that actually level all the frets on the guitar, so they are supposed to be 100% in level. Do you think there is a lot of guitars leaving the Gibson factory with 100% level frets? No. I can tell you no. So I think that it's all about the money these days. Making the guitar as quick as possible. The paint is barely dry on the guitar before it has to be shipped out. The control the control before the packaging is kind of like oh, never mind, oh, that's okay. They check in the guitar and they're supposed to put some things on a paper to checklist, you know, that kind of shit. And I think that even though it's kind of like borderline thing, if the guitar is going to pass or not, still they think, okay, well, it's okay, you can send it out. Even though have it been 25 years ago, there wouldn't be a chance in hell that this guitar would be passing the control. It would be sent back to the factory to be rebuilt, or, you know, kind of like fixing the problems. That's not happened today. So we have some major quality issues on the factory, I believe, and that was caused problems with unhappy customers and most likely unhappy resellers, music stores that actually buy a big amount of guitars from the factory, as Thomann have a huge warehouse full of guitars. I mean, you have to see it with your own eyes to believe how many guitars they actually have in stock. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I mean, they are buying guitars for millions of euros every year, and maybe 25, 35, 40% of the guitars have some issues. I mean, that's not very good. So I think that Gibson have to think a little bit now, because if they are going to lose their market in Europe for new Gibson guitars, I think that they are really in trouble, because even though America is a big country, right? But Europe is actually buying a lot of new Gibson guitars, so it's all about the money. I mean, at the end of the day, Gibson are just happy if they ship a guitar out, even though it means that the customers isn't really happy. I don't know. Maybe there is some type of warranty or something like that. I know it is, but it's just some more complications, and the customers at the end of the day just say, oh, never mind, I don't want it back. Give me my goddamn money, I'm going to buy a Fender or something else instead, you know, because, well, not a Fender Telecaster modern player, at least, but something else. So I think that's the case here. So the video has been running for almost 40 minutes now. Holy shit, this video was supposed to be like 5 minutes now. I'm very sorry. Anyway, this is something worth talking about, because this is some major problems here, and I'm very worried about this, because I like Gibson guitars, and finding a decent or several decent Gibson Les Pauls, that's not an easy task. So I'm a little bit worried here, because I know that this is going to be a major problem in just a matter of this short time, when more and more and more music stores is actually going to stop selling Gibsons. That's for sure. I could be wrong, and no offense, of course, but this is my opinion and not yours. And that's the most important. This is what I think. You don't have to think the same as I do. So that's very good. That's cool with me, okay? But anyway, take care now. Bye bye then.